what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story I want to talk about, let's talk about classic physique a little bit more in depth because we just got a physique update yesterday from Bumstead that pretty much had the whole bodybuilding industry talking. And today we got an update from the runner-up of last year's Olympia, Chris's, in my opinion, biggest rival, and that would be Terrence Ruffin. Ruff Diesel. So he posted this post today, and now we're 4 weeks out from the Olympia. He says, we're working. Coach seemed happy but not satisfied. And he posted a side relaxed, a back relaxed, a front relaxed. So he's not actually posing in these updates. So it would be a little bit unfair to compare the side shot to Chris's side shot, but I still want to put them side by side just for perspective's sake. And again, I don't think it's a fair comparison for Terrence because Terrence isn't actually hitting a side chest here. But even, you can see how good Terrence is. You can see the classic attributes of his physique. Even in this side shot, you can see how tapered his waist is and how perfectly suited he is for that classic division. But again, the main point that I was trying to drive home with Bumstead, if you look at Chris's update, it's just the overwhelming size that Chris seems to have added in this prep. And like I said, in classic physique, that shape, that structure like Terrence has, that posing, all those things are very important, but Chris has all of that as well. But he's also got it with size. He's got the height advantage, he's got the weight advantage, he's got the overall size and stage presence advantage, and he has all the same things that Terrence has, even though I think Terrence's V-taper might be more pronounced, his posing might be a little bit better. But Chris has essentially all those things, plus the size, which does kind of raise the question of whether or not there should be weight limits in classic physique or if the weight limit should be increased, because it does give taller guys like Chris, I think, the size is an advantage. And obviously in classic physique, size isn't as important. Size certainly isn't everything, but it is something. It still is bodybuilding at the end of the day. And the taller guys have a size advantage. They just do, even though it seems like a lot of the shorter guys place higher. The guy winning is one of the tallest guys in the lineup. And I saw a lot of really good comparisons with Chris Bumstead 2021 versus 2022 because a lot of people seem to be noticing the increase in just overall size, the fullness. And I saw this one on Fernando Arroyo on his page, and he posted this side by side, and you can really see significant increases in just overall size and fullness in Chris's upper body. Obviously, you can't see his legs in the 2022, and the 2021 probably isn't scaled to the right extent, but you can still get the point. You can see his triceps, his delts, his chest. Everything looks fuller and bigger in this pose. And not just a little bit, significantly. And I forget exactly how much room Chris had. I think he said he had around 10 pounds to still grow into his weight limit from what he weighed on stage last year, so he could add maybe 10 pounds of muscle. I believe it was 10. But I know he has said he hasn't fully maxed out his weight yet on stage for his restriction. And honestly, I think he's going to bring something insane this year with Honey Rambot. And again, I don't want to take away from Terrence's update, but I wanted to compare the two because they were runner-up in second place at last year's Olympia. And we did just get a full update from Terrence after essentially a really impressive update from Chris. Now, also in classic physique updates and classic physique news, we got some updates from Logan Franklin. Speaking of taller guys in that lineup, a guy that we haven't really seen much from because he qualified so early on is Logan Franklin. So we got from Logan a twisting front double bicep. We also got this kind of side tricep variation, as well as a classic front relaxed and kind of a classic side tricep / most muscular hybrid there. And Logan obviously is another guy I've been very impressed with. I think he's got a great structure. A lot of the taller guys seem to have these Arnold-esque physiques, and a lot of the shorter guys are more of a Franco Columbu. And that's really why I think classic physique is such a cool division. It really does pay legitimate homage to the old school era, to the 70s and 80s. And a lot of the guys, like I said, the shorter guys are kind of like a Padilla, a Columbu, a Menser. And the taller guys are like Arnold and Serge Nubret, those type of physiques. They really do resemble them. And I think Logan is a guy that really, truly does resemble Arnold. And that's probably why his nickname is the Texas Oak. He's a guy, like I said, this Olympia across all divisions, there's so many competitors in each category. It's really tough to predict the top 10 in open. But classic even more so. I think there's like 60 guys qualified for classic physique. So where is Logan Franklin going to fall? It's hard to say. I'd like to see him solidly in the top 10. But there's so many guys. I mean, classic is really hard to predict besides maybe the top 6. And I think maybe that's why we haven't talked about Logan as much. I think he's gotten lost in the shuffle. We've been talking about all the top guys. that have been top placers at the Olympia, recent top placers at the Arnold this past year. And Logan really, because he qualified so early, hasn't been competing or as active. And so all these guys that have been qualifying, I feel like Logan's name got lost in the mix a little bit, but I do think these recent updates at around 4 weeks out were pretty impressive from him. Now, next up in the news, speaking of taller classic guys, Brian Jones, who was a taller classic competitor. He placed pretty well at the Arnold. He's placed pretty well at the Olympia in classic physique. He announced last year that he's going to be making the transition to men's open bodybuilding. And the last physique update that we got from him was back in July. And back in July, he was sitting at 254 pounds in that update. And in his recent update, I'm assuming he's heavier now in this update than he was back in July, because he's had, what, July, August, September, October, November, 5 months to add even more size. So let's say he's around 260. His recent update, where he's looking significantly bigger, he says he wants to add another 35 pounds of muscle to be stage ready for men's open bodybuilding. I think he is about 6'2", maybe 6'1", so he is significantly taller. But that would put him close to 300 pounds, 295-ish. And he already looks crazy. I mean, look at the shoulder to waist ratio. And granted, there's definitely some goon lighting and some angling going on in this update. But this is a legitimate guy that I think you could make an argument is going to do very well in men's open bodybuilding. He reminds me of Cedric McMillan. He's crossing over from classic physique. And I legitimately think with his structure, his small waist, his shoulder width, he could do well in open bodybuilding with that kind of size. And it opens up the question with Chris Bumstead. What if Chris were to make that switch? Because I think this year we've seen the biggest version, at least in these prep photos, that we've ever seen of Chris Bumstead. So we should all be watching Brian Jones's transition into men's open bodybuilding. If he is successful, it kind of opens that conversation, maybe opens that door a little bit wider with the Chris Bumstead conversation of Chris going to open. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the potential of Chris switching to open if Brian Jones does well when he switches. Now, of course, there's always going to be that question with Chris that he's had these health issues in the past, and he doesn't want to push that any further. But I think selfishly, a lot of us would like to see what that would be like if Chris did just do a one-off even men's open bodybuilding show. Maybe even Chris wouldn't even have to add a significant amount of size. Maybe as is, he could go compete in a men's open show. I would like to see him do the Arnold Classic personally, but that's the Lord Jones, Brian Jones story. Now, we also got a recent physique update from Derek Lunsford, just the most muscular here at around 4 weeks out from the Olympia. Derek is a guy that I do think will be able to crack the top 6. I do think he's going to be in the conversation as one of the new front runners in the men's open Olympia. I think right off the bat, he's going to hit the ground running and be successful. You got so many guys. Like I said, I've been saying this a lot, but this is going to be one of the most difficult top 10s to predict, I think, in recent bodybuilding history or in bodybuilding history in general. But I do feel safe in saying that I don't think Derek is going to look small in this lineup. I think that illusion of width with his small waist, his gigantic back for his size, for his frame. He's got a gigantic back, crazy wide shoulders, crazy small waist. That illusion of width and the size that you can see here, I think will be substantial enough for him not to look like a 212 competitor in the open lineup. I think he's going to do very well. His shape will carry him a long way. The conditioning that Hani is going to bring him in, I think will carry him a long way. And I think he's going to have enough size to not get just like totally outmassed in this lineup. And I do think that this photo is evidence of that. He's not a small guy by any stretch of the imagination. He is not going to get, I don't think, dwarfed on this stage. Now, another physique update that we got was Michal Krizo, also at 4 weeks out from the Olympia. Just like Derek Lunsford, but to a little bit more extreme extent, a most muscular and a side chest, showing off just the sheer mass that Michal Krizo has. So I guess we can end this video with that question. Who do you think will place higher, Derek Lunsford in his first time ever in the open category at the Olympia, or Michal Krizo at his first appearance in the men's open Olympia with the IFBB Pro League? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Leave a comment down below. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NickStrengthPower. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.